Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you two maternity dresses that I modified from the very easy Vogue V9198 pattern. Before we get started, I thought I would give you a quick update on my pregnancy. So now I have officially passed the 37-week mark. So now baby is considered term. So it's possible the baby may arrive at any day now, even though the doctor didn't think that was likely at this point. And because obviously I am in a very late stage of my pregnancy, and everything people say about how uncomfortable the last few weeks of pregnancy has been true in my case. Right now has become difficult for me to sleep, and just I am really starting to waddle at this point. And every single a simple act becomes almost a Herculean task in my case. Such as say putting on socks in the morning when I take my dog out. But strangely, because I only have about less than 2 weeks to go actually at this point, because I would be induced at 39 weeks. And so it really feels a lot more bearable at this point because I know the end is in sight. And so now I'm just sort of in a mad dash to finish my work and also actually to get the baby area all set up because I hadn't done anything, I hadn't bought anything until I would say about the 10th of January because I was always paranoid and maybe a bit superstitious about something bad happening. So I didn't really want to, get all excited and get everything set up. But obviously, I need to do that at some point. And so it was almost like a military kind of style action. Like I've been putting things on my registry list, and then once time to pull the trigger, just like swoop in and got everything done. So the baby things are all finished at this point. So that's the baby prep sort of aspect. And another funny thing about the pregnancy was yesterday I went for the baby scan, and after the technician was done with me, the OB came in and told me everything looked great, and the baby's scored on some sort of test 8 out of 8, so everything is as it should be. And I forgot the criteria for the evaluation, but I asked the OB, I said, well, what happens if the baby doesn't score 8 out of 8 on this test? Then she said, we will induce you today. You wouldn't even be going home at all. And I said, really? I said, yeah. She said, baby's term already. And if baby doesn't score 8 out of 8, that means something is not quite right. Either say maybe the placenta is starting to deteriorate and baby is not getting the proper nutrition, or just whatever it is. So they said they would not take any risk and would just, induce that day. And so it was kind of funny because it would never have occurred to me that when I went for the baby scan, that there was actually a possibility that I may not, go home that day. But luckily that has not been my case. So all is well. And so that's the latest update on my pregnancy. Just for fun, here's a comparison of my pregnancy now versus 2.5 months ago. And really is quite remarkable how much the baby has grown just during such a short amount of time. The first dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 2 yards of about 57-inch wide rayon viscose fabric that I purchased from fabric.com quite a while ago, easily 2.5 years ago. And so here is a close-up look of this print. As you can see, it's a red background with white polka dots. And if you and I bought this fabric actually at the same time that I bought the black base polka dot fabric that I used to make a pussy bow blouse maternity dress in my video 88. And so as you can see, I'm a big fan of polka dots. About the pattern that I used to make this maternity dress, the very easy Vogue V9198. It actually is not a maternity dress, but the modification is very simple to turn it into a maternity dress. But otherwise, the pattern itself goes from a pattern size number 6 to number 22. And so the bust size goes from 30.5 to 44 inches. So actually it is, quite a wide range of sizing. And I could tell just from looking at the pattern pieces that this pattern is a very loose fitting pattern. So normally pre-pregnancy, my pattern size is generally size 8. So if I were making a regular non-maternity dress out of this pattern, I think most likely I would size down by 1 size and will make the size 6 instead of 8. But in my case, obviously, because I was, making a maternity dress, so how I determined the sizing was that I used the last pussy bow blouse dresses that I shared with you in my last video 89. And so I measured the circumference of the, I guess the high bust or just right under the armhole. And then, so I think I got about 40 inches from that one. It's been a while because I actually made this dress in mid-December actually. And so I think whatever measurement I got, I just measured the pattern pieces minus the seam allowance. And so in this case, I cut out a size 10 for this pattern to get to this sort of high bust measurement here. And to turn it into a maternity dress is actually pretty simple. As you can see from the picture here, it has a yoke, and that ends sort of around midway of the armhole, and then the dress portion is a simple gathered piece for the front of the dress. And so what I did was I measured the size 10 finished garment measurement, and I decided, okay, I think that gives me about just around 40 inches of circumference, including the front and the back piece. So I figured I needed about 50 inches to accommodate for my pregnancy size. So for this piece, not the yoke, but this piece, the gathered piece here, I just extended the pattern size by 10 inches. And because this piece is actually cut on the fold. So what I did was I just placed the pattern piece 5 inches away from the folded edge of the fabric. And then I just cut it out that way. And as a result, there is a lot more gathering here than I think, the original design of the pattern piece. But because I used a very soft rayon fabric here, so it doesn't look too bunched up. So as you can see here, so this is just a lot more gathered here, but it looks fine. And then because it's gathered, so it does expand very easily. So now even at my very late stage, I still have plenty of room here. So that works out very well. And also another feature of this pattern is the cuffs actually. So as you can see here, it's a lapped cuff. But originally the pattern have the cuff is actually, the opening of the cuff is actually at the seam. But that's not how a lapped cuff normally is constructed. normally a lapped cuff is a little off, about, I would say, about 2 inches away from that underarm seam. So I did not, in this case, I did not follow the instructions of the pattern. I just switched it, turned it into a regular lapped cuff. And so that's what it looks like. And also I did make one simple modification. I noticed the arms were really long. I mean, I don't think I have a short arm, but that's another reason why I made my own clothes, because many commercial dresses that I could find before in the store, the arms were just too short. So anyway, but in this case, the sleeves were so long, so I actually had to shorten the sleeve piece by about 1 inch to get to this. So I think this is a bit more sort of proportionate to my own arm length. So that is a simple modification I made. And also this pattern comes with inseam pockets. But in my case, I didn't have enough to to cut out the pockets, because normally a size 10 would not need more than 2 yards of this fabric. But because I extended this piece by 10 inches, so that used up a big chunk of my 2 yards. So I didn't have enough, so that's fine. So I skipped that. And it still works out very well. So, so this is the yoke, and this is the front piece. And I did not modify the back piece. So the back piece is exactly the way it is, for size 10. And because it is, because I did not extend the back piece, so the seam here, is a bit towards the back instead of right in the middle of my my body, the side weight here. So the seam is, let me see, here instead of here. But I don't think people will really notice that much, so I don't mind it. Another thing that I modified from the pattern is how I gathered this portion. So originally, the pattern have you gather, the gather starts about 2 inches away from the side seams. But then when I did it that way, because the gathering was much more concentrated in the center part, so then it started having this weird drag lines, because this portion would just start dragging it this way, and which I saw was quite unsightly. So I unpicked it and then evened out the gathering throughout the entire width of this piece here, and I think it looks so much better this way. At least the lines were falling straight down instead of has a weird drag line this way. So I do highly recommend making this change from the original pattern instructions. This red polka dot dress is actually my version 1 of this pattern. I did not make a muslin or toile. So actually I'm quite happy how well it fits me right off the package, with this very simple modification to add more volume for the front dress piece. And originally I was thinking that it would be really cute if I added sort of a contrasting Peter Pan colors in white. But then because it was my first sort of, in a way, almost prototype, I did not want to spend too much time on it in case the fit was just off. So I didn't do it. But now in hindsight, maybe I should have done it, because I think it would have been cute. But that's fine. I still like it very much. It looks very festive. So I am very happy about how this one worked out. So here is a quick video of this red polka dot maternity dress. And I paired the dress with a pair of 1.5 inch heels in black patent leather. And I'm very happy about how this version 1 worked out. It pretty much conforms with my expectations. So I'm very happy about the result, considering I really made minimum modification to the pattern itself. And the dress, I think, is a little bit shorter than what the pattern intended. And the reason is because I just simply ran out of fabric. So I think it's probably a bit, maybe 1 inch shorter than what the pattern called for. But it works out very well for me. And also, just for a quick reference, I am 5'5" or 165 centimeters, so that gives you an idea of where it falls. But you do have to keep in mind that because the front dress piece would look a bit shorter now because my pregnancy belly obviously lifts up the front piece a bit. So so please do keep that in mind when you determine how long the dress should be for you. The second dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 2.5 yards of about 57-inch wide rayon viscose fabric that I purchased from movefabrics.com almost 2.5 years ago at this point. And so here is a quick sort of close-up look of the color and the print. So it's the color is a bit of sort of a olive green, and the print is some sort of animal print. So as you can see, I just really love these sort of animal wildlife print here. And I bought this fabric at the same time that I purchased the navy blue animal print one that I used in my last video 89. So the texture is pretty much identical, I think, to each other. And so I'm very happy that I finally used this fabric, because for the longest time I had no idea what I want to make with this fabric, even though I quite like it. So anyway, so for this version, because I had 2.5 yards of this fabric, I decided to add the Peter Pan collar for this one. So as you can see here, so this is like a Peter Pan collar, and it's a flat collar, and it's incredibly easy to draft because all you do is just follow the neckline of the original pattern piece. So this is what it looks like, and this is what the back looks like. And also, I had enough fabric to cut out pocket pieces. So these are the pocket pieces here. So that's so those are, it's kind of funny because I mentioned that because of my pregnancy sort of shape right now, this seam is not in the center, but sort of got pushed towards the back. So when I try to use a pocket, it actually feels a bit weird. But because then the idea is that I would still be able to wear this dress postpartum. And what I did is just I made a simple waist tie, and that I will be able to cinch in at the natural waist, after I lose the baby weight. And unlike the pussy bow blouse dresses, I would not use the waist tie right now to tie it just right under my bust, because it will look weird, because all this gathering and then another because I really don't need to accentuate my bust right now. So for this version, I didn't make any changes from the red polka dot version because I was already very happy with the fit of the red polka dot dress. One thing I did forget to mention when I was talking about the red polka dot dress is that when attaching the gather piece to the yoke, let me stand closer. As you can see now, this line is fairly straight. However, I did change how I sewed it from the pattern instructions, because if I just sewed it directly, per pattern instruction, just the same seam allowance, 5/8 of an inch in this case, then actually somehow just the way it falls, it will look almost like a very minor V this way. This line is not perfectly straight. So what I figured out was I needed to increase the seam allowance for this portion to bring it up so this line, this horizontal line, would be straight. And so what it ended up doing was, for me anyway, it's about, from the center front, goes out 4 inches on either side. And then for the center front, I will increase the seam allowance by ½ inch. So that is 5/8 of an inch plus ½ inch. And then, so here is 5/8 of an inch, but starting about 4 inches from the center front, I increased it gradually, and so it reaches the additional ½ an inch. That's right. It reaches additional ½ an inch up to the center front, and then taper back down to 0, or the standard 5/8 of an inch, and then continue going. And so that's how I achieve this sort of straight line. And it's exactly the same as what I discovered when I made my YSL inspired Mondrian dress that I talked about before. And that was also what I had to do to achieve a straight line across the front here. And so I'm not sure if that's just me or other people, but that might be something you would consider if you're making this pattern, which I do recommend because this is a nice pattern, and I do think it looks very cute with the addition of the Peter Pan collar here. So here's a quick video of this olive green maternity dress with the added Peter Pan collar. And I paired the dress with a pair of 1½ inch heels in black pattern leather. And I'm really happy about how this dress turned out. I really love the addition of the Peter Pan collar, and I think it does add to the cutesy factor, which is really right up my alley. So I am very happy about how it turned out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. And this will be my last video before baby's arrival in about 2 weeks. So really final countdown at this point. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has sent your good wishes my way in connection with my pregnancy and the pending arrival of the baby. I really appreciate it and feel very touched. So thank you very much. And for my next video, I would introduce the baby to you. So please do stay tuned. So anyway, on that note, I hope you would stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye-bye.